I'm going to cover several things here. First, for Wondering Gypsy. Now, she's had several major life events happen to her, which were it's had an effect on her. Now, for anybody, you don't bury those down. You don't try to cover them up. What you do, you focus in on the pain that they've caused you, and you do slow, deep breathing. You got to be in a meditative state, either lying down or in a yoga pose or something. But you focus in on the pain. It doesn't go away right away, but you do the slow, deep breathing, and eventually you'll open up all that pain and let it go. Said anybody, if you keep that, we all create our own reality. That's why if you read the book The Secret, that's exactly what that is. For good, for bad, consciously, subconsciously, we all create our own reality. If you got a lot of negativity stored down there, it's going to manifest itself in bad things. So, like I said, focus in on the pain. When you've got time to do this, when you're not focusing on something else, because this requires concentration to do this. You don't want to do it while driving or making a YouTube video or something. Second thing I want to comment, I only watched part of her video, but it's not yellow for me. Now, YouTube will demonetize you if you use the S word. The unaliving yourself S word. Now, I use the word unaliving or deleting yourself. Now, I'm sure we all have the days when things aren't going right, and the idea of deleting ourselves kind of pops out. I certainly had a few days where it was a thought that that might be a better option, but I said, nah, I'm the guy that says, hey, you play your last hand. You play your last hand until the game is over. That's me, but there's only one set of conditions where I would say I'd advise anybody even to think about it. Now, if you are in bad health, if you're feeling awful, if you're in very, very bad health, and it's never going to be a cure, you're never going to recover from it. Yeah, I would say that might be an option under that set of conditions. Now, there are places which allow you to delete yourself or unalive yourself. Now, I don't think Arizona has a law like that, but a few of the states, I know Switzerland has programs where they'll have to have a couple of doctors sign off on this, and where there's I watched a movie. I think I can't think of the name of it, but this one lady had she was in pretty poor health, but she actually invited her sister to come and to actually be there with her, and her sister really didn't want to be part of it, but they forced her. The people that run the place forced her to stay there and actually be a comfort to her sister while she. They gave her some type of poison that unalived her. Well, they gave her the option of administering it to herself, so it was self-unaliving. Now, the last thing I want to cover, I've covered number stations a few times here also. Now, if you don't know the shortwave number stations, they do still use them. And there was a movie called Number Station, which was pretty good. I think it was pure fiction, but now there's some debate as to exactly what these number stations are for. Now, I've heard them in English, Spanish, and in German. There may be number stations in other languages. You can type number stations here on YouTube, and they'll come up. Like I said, they're still using them. Now, you can use RDF to track down the transmitter, but who's receiving them? There's absolutely no way of tracing who's if you send an email, there's a record of who's writing it and where it's sent to, but a number station received on a shortwave radio, there's no way of tracing who it's actually sent to. I don't think anybody's ever cracked a shortwave number station. There'll be a series of numbers like 1, 4, 0, 0, 2, 6, 5, or uno, cero, cinco, uno, cero, ocho, nueve. Like that? Or eins, neun, sechs, zwei. Yeah, I'm terrible with German numbers, but you get the idea. And there's some debate whether there's actually a message there or not. The idea is that they're being sent to spies out in the field. They have these one-time scratch pads that'll have the translation, and they'll translate the message, and get the message. Now, there was one. They proved that this was not true, but there was a shortwave. It's called a dead hand switch. It was coming out of a small city close to Moscow. It had some type of generator where it would be on constantly. There was an idea that if this station ever went off the air, it would be a signal to spies in the field that Moscow had been attacked. Moscow was no longer the city of Moscow was no longer there, and it was a signal to any of the operators in the field to kind of carry out some type of plan. Like I said, they proved that wasn't the case. That wasn't a dead hand switch, but that's a bit interesting. Anyway, love you. Bye-bye.